Hey everyone, it's Mickey from GameMaker Cast, and welcome back. And in the next couple lessons, I want to be working on a space shoot 'em up game called X-Type. I've been posting a couple pictures on Twitter, and basically what I want to have in the end is a game that's enjoyable to play and at least have a few people play it. Right now I'm starting off with a blank project. The only thing I've done within the main is I've changed my game's frames per second to 60. Now, I'm not going to be doing the art in these lessons. If that's something that you think that you would like, I can definitely do it. But for now, I just kind of have everything already done. I'm going to go ahead and create a sprite, and I'll just call this one SPR ship. And I want to import a sprite here. And I believe it's art. GameMaker, nope. X-type and ship. So right here, we have the ship. And I'm just going to set the origin to something here at the bottom. Now the reason I'm setting the origin here, it's really just because I want a trail to come out, and without doing a whole bunch of math, it's pretty easy just to have the origin and have the items come out wherever the origin is. The next thing I'm going to do is I'll create a new sprite called SPR trail, and I'm going to edit the image, and this time I'm going to import a strip image. And I'll use the trail. You can see it's kind of hard to see, but we have 4 items here, and I believe the width is 16 by 8. We'll actually pick up the last one, it's easier to see. We have not offsets, but we have some pixel offsets and some spacing. Let's double check, everything else good. I'll hit convert. Now we have these items here. Alright. And let's do 2 more. SPR flame. And again, we'll edit the image and image import. We'll choose our flame. And we have 4. It's not 16 by 8. Well, that's not right. It's actually 16 by 16. Alright, I'll hit convert. Say yes, and we have our Bobby. And we have our flame item here. And for this one, what I want to do is I want to set the origin on this one to be the middle right. And I actually forgot to set the origin on the flame, sorry, the trail, and that is also going to be the middle right as well. Now I'll close these. Don't need them anymore. And finally, I want to create another sprite. It's called SPR star. And I'm just going to have a 1 pixel by 1 pixel. And I'll edit my image. And with the white, I'm just going to color it in. Okay. Now, let's create an object. Let's create an object for our ship. And we assign the ship object. And inside our room, let's go ahead and add that object in. So I will grab my object and I'll just place him in the room here. And while we're in here, we want to do a few things. Let's change the background color. In here, instead of using the default gray, we'll use 181425. That will give us a deep purple. And now I want to change the room height to 512. There we go. So our ship's going to be going this way. Okay. Now that's good for there. So let's work on getting our ship to actually move. So within our object, our ship, we're going to add a couple events. We'll start off with create event. Then here we need to basically figure out what we're going to need for a ship. Well, we're going to need some keys. We'll need some movement objects. And we're going to have a flame come out the back. So we'll say flame sprite. And I think that's really it for now. So underneath the keys, let's go ahead and define a couple keys that we're going to be using. We'll say key up, and for now let's just hard code them. So the key up will be W, the key to the down will be S, and then we have a key left and key right. So left is going to be D and right will be A. Now for the movement, we're going to be using a couple different things. We'll say horizontal speed, so this is how fast we're going to be moving left and right, and vertical speed, again, that's up and down. And the maximum speed is how fast we can move in any one of those directions. And then we have an acceleration, and we'll set this at 0.5 and a deceleration at 0.1. So basically over time, we're going to accelerate until we hit the max speed. We'll add it on to either one of these horizontal or vertical speeds and then move the ship accordingly. Now for the flame sprite, we want to animate this, and we're going to animate this in the draw event. So for now, we'll just call it flame or sprite flame index, and we'll just set it to 0. And we'll come back to this later on. For now, we'll create a step event. And in here, we need to get some keyboard input. So let's have a vertical input. It's going to equal keyboard check, the key down, minus keyboard check, key up. So basically what we're doing here is we are going to say, are we pressing key down or key up? And we will return either -1 or 1, depending on which one we are pressing, so we can go down or up. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to use horizontal input. And this time we're going to check the keyboard check, key right, minus the keyboard check, key left. Check out keyboard check. Okay, now let's create a region, and this will be for horizontal movement and region. It's going to try and keep our code a little bit clean here. So we want to make sure that we're pressing some form of horizontal input, so either left or right. So if we are pressing some horizontal input, then we say horizontal speed plus equals our horizontal input, which is either 1 or -1, times acceleration. If we are not pressing any keys, well, this is where we need to deaccelerate. So first we need to check to see if our horizontal speed is bigger than our deacceleration. So if horizontal speed is bigger than deceleration, well, in this case, our horizontal speed minus equals deceleration, because it's bigger. Now we need to see if our horizontal speed is less than our deceleration speed. So horizontal speed is less than negative deceleration. Then what we want to do is, with the horizontal speed, we want to add our deceleration. So this would be if we're going to the right, we would slow down. If we're going to the left, we would slow down that way. And finally, otherwise, or horizontal speed is equal to 0. So we're not going left or right, so let's make sure our horizontal speed is set to 0. Finally, at the end, we want to clamp the speed according to the maximum speed that we can go. So horizontal speed equals clamp, and we want to clamp the speed that we are currently on, and we can go minus max speed, so minus or -6 to 6. And finally, on the x-axis, we will move with our horizontal speed. Now we can do the exact same thing, but we're just going to use a vertical speed here. So we have left and right, and now this is going to be up and down. So all we really have to do is go through and change everything to vertical. Just make sure that we name it properly here. And once we have done so, we'll run our game, and we'll see how we're doing. There's a couple more areas. Vertical, vertical, vertical speed, and instead of adding the X, we'll add to the Y. Alright, give it a quick one look over. It seems okay. Alright, so let's hit play. Let's see if we have any errors. Alright, so our ship is here, and we already have one error. If we press the right key, our ship moves back. And so all we have to do is come up here, and it looks like I am doing this differently. We'll check the keys. Left is D, so that should actually be left is A and right is D. Now if we do that, that's going to work fine. Alright, perfect. So now we have our ship movement, and it's pretty smooth. The next thing we want to do is work on a few different effects. So we can do this in the draw event. So in here, we want to draw the flame, and then we want to draw the ship. So to draw the flame, we can use draw, sprite, extend it, and in here, we want to use the SPR flame, so the sprite flame. And the next is going to be the index, and we want our item to be animated, so we're going to use that SPR flame index variable that we created in the beginning. We'll have an X value and a Y value, and so basically we just want to follow our ship. I'll say Y -1, just so it's not exactly on the ship. And our X scale is 1, and our Y scale I want at 0.75. And let's use the image angle of the ship, because we'll change this in a bit, and we'll make sure that our color is sea white, and we have 100% alpha. So the only thing that we need to do to animate this is we need to tell the flame index to constantly move. So we'll just say plus equals 1. And to draw the ship itself, we'll just say draw self. Okay, let's hit run. Let's see how we're doing here. Hopefully we have a flame, and we do. Okay, perfect. Now the one thing that we had in the flame is we had the image angle. So what I want to do is in the step event, I'll just have it down here. I'll say region, image angle, and region. So whenever we move up or down, I want the ship to kind of tilt in that direction. So that's pretty easy by saying image angles. It's going to equal our vertical speed times 2. And that's just to give it more of a bump, more of a power, so it can actually show. And because this will give the opposite value, I'm going to say times minus equal 1. So if I didn't have that minus equal 1, if I was going up, our ship would be pointed down. Now, if I go up, our ship points up, and it points down. So that's just a nice little effect there. Now the only other thing that we're going to have to do is create the trail effects. Now we're actually going to cheat on this a little bit. Let's open up our room, and in here, in instances, we'll name this player. And what I want is underneath the player, I'm going to add a new instances, and I'll just call this trail. Now within our object ship event, right here, we'll say region trail and region. And like I said, we're going to kind of cheat a little bit. So we're going to create a new object called obj trail. If I could spell it. I'll assign the sprite to the trail, and this is what we're going to instantiate. So actually, if we go back to our ship and we go to the step event, right in here, we'll say var trail equals instance create layer. And where do I want to create it? Well, I'll say x minus random range between 4 and 10. So that will just give it a little bit of a bump to the left or right. And I want to create it at the Y position on my ship. And the layer, I want to use the new layer that we have, which is trail. And the object is obj trail. Now, the only other thing I want to do with this trail is I want to say the image Y scale can be random between 0.5 and 1. And then the trail image angle is equal to the current image angle of our ship. Now, because we're using random range, let's make sure we go to our create event for our ship, and we'll say randomize. We want everything to be random, so we'll definitely have that in there. Now, if we switch back to the trail itself, the object, we're going to add a step event. And in here, let's just have x minus equal 8. So we're going to move to the left. We'll say if the x position is less than 0, then all we want to do is say instance destroy. Okay, let's give this a quick run and see how this is looking. And you can see we kind of have a trail. Now the only thing that I don't really like is the way that this is being animated. So let's go and turn that off. In the create event, we'll say image speed equals 0. And now we have to choose a random frame to show. So we'll say image index equals random. We'll say I random range because we need a whole number. We'll say in between 1 and image number. So we'll choose random frame between 1 and max frames. And once again, because we're using random, we'll say randomize. Okay, let's hit play. Let's see how this looks. I think that looks a little bit better. Can make some neat effects with this trail. Okay, so the only other thing I really want to do is we have this SPR star, and I'm going to create a new object just to fill it here. I'll just call this obj star generator, and I will add an event, and this will be the number of stars, and let's have 50. And then so all we'll have to say is repeat for the number of stars, and we'll come back and change this. This is just going to be a placeholder really. I'm just going to fill the screen up with 50 stars here. So we'll say vrxx equals random range 0 and room width, and once again, because we're using random, we'll make sure it's actually going to be random. And for the y position, 0 room height, and vr alpha equals random range between 0.25 and 1, and vr scale random range 0.5 and 2. Finally, let's create the stars. We'll say instance create at xx, so instance create layer at xxyy, and we'll make a new layer for this, but we'll call it stars, and we want to instantiate the star object, which we don't have yet, so let's make that. Create new object, obj star, and just assign the sprite. Back in our star generator, vr star equals, so basically we want to say when we get the star, we want to be able to change it. So with this current star, we want to change the image alpha equal the alpha that we have. I can't spell that right now. And the star image x scale equals scale, and finally the y scale is going to equal scale. So let's make this instances here. Stars, let's drag it all the way down and make sure we have the generator somewhere in our room here, and we'll hit play and see what errors we have. Alright, so now we have some static stars. You can come back in here and let's say we want 250 of them. We'll hit play. Now there'll be 250 random stars in our room. Alright, that's pretty good for the first episode. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. We'll have to get some shooting, some waves, and we'll actually come back to the star generation and make it a lot better. I'd like to thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next video.